Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Anchored Soul. I'm your host, Allie. Today I want to talk about something that I feel like the Lord has laid on my heart to talk about today. It was not what I had planned to talk about, but I think that it's important to be obedient and talk about this. So for starters, I'm going to be going over Psalm 23. This is a psalm that's been very prevalent in my life for about a year and a half now, and I'm definitely leaning on it a lot during this time of change and hardship in my life. I'm also reading a Bible study. It's called Life Lessons in Psalms by Max Lucado, and that just so happened to be the psalm that we were studying this week was Psalm 23. So I'm going to go ahead and read it, and then I'll jump into what I want to talk about. So Psalm 23 says this. I'm reading out of the New International Version. A Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I love that song. I always used to think that it was just about death, but it's not. I've realized, like I said, in the last year and a half, that it's just about hard times. The darkest valley. I think the New King James Version says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And that's always the version I grew up knowing. So I always just thought it was about death. But I learned that it's just about hard times, about dark times, just different things that we walk through. So right now I am currently in Indiana living with my parents and my children. Jeremiah is away at school, and it's not an easy thing to be going through. It's not the end of the world, and I'm very blessed to be surrounded by family that is very helpful when I need it, and they're great company. So I'm not actually alone with the kids. And I know not everybody has that, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But it's still difficult. I don't have my husband to be here with me to help with the kids. I'm kind of solo parenting, which is a new ballpark for me. So that's that's a big one. And then on top of that, we just currently left the life that we built for the last 3 years, and that was very difficult. So our church, our friends, our family that we've created there, our house that was all of our firsts, it was our first house. We brought both of our kids home there. They had all of their firsts there. So that was very difficult. And then on top of that, I'm walking through something personal with my family right now that is, it's not an easy thing to walk through. And it's kind of you never know what you're getting when you turn the next corner, unless you've walked through it before, and we have not. So that's just kind of adding on to everything. And I felt very alone. I was talking to Jeremiah the other night, and I just was crying to him. I was like, I just feel like people aren't checking on me. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing all of the things to make myself feel better, but it's not working. I don't know what I'm missing or what I'm doing wrong. And I know that the people are busy. The people have their own lives. I don't expect people to, even every day text me and be like, hey, how are you doing? But I do expect it every once in a while, and I just felt like I wasn't receiving that. So I just was feeling very alone and very abandoned by my people. So even with Jeremiah, I talked to him every single day, usually multiple times a day, but he wasn't directly asking me how I was doing, and so I even felt like he wasn't checking up on me, and that's just something that I need to communicate, and I wasn't communicating. Now that I have communicated it, it's been a lot better. But also, I got off the phone with him. I ended my night before I went to bed in prayer to God, and I just cried out to him. I just said, I feel like I'm checking all the boxes. Like, I'm in your word, I'm worshiping, I'm praying, I'm leaning on you more than other things. I don't understand what I'm missing. Like, what is this piece of the puzzle that I don't have, that I need to feel better? And I've never dealt with these emotions in a non-depressive state before. I feel like I'm really good about dealing with them if I'm starting to become depressed, but I don't feel like I am this time. I feel like that's something I prayed a lot for, and I feel like God is blessing me in that sense, that I'm not slipping into a depression during this time, because that usually, that would be my first thing that would happen. So I've never dealt with these emotions without that, so it's kind of new territory for me. And I went to bed after praying, and when I woke up the next morning, I started this week of my Bible study, and I want to read you guys what the inspiration passage was from it, because I think it's really good, and it kind of leads me into my next thing that I want to talk about. So this is what it says. Again, this is Life Lessons in Psalms by Max Lucado. And it says, "It is our weariness that makes the words of the carpenter so compelling. Listen to them. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." It's from Matthew 11:28. Come to me. The invitation is to come to him. Why him? He offers the invitation as a penniless rabbi in an oppressed nation. He has no political office, no connections with the authorities in Rome. He hasn't written a bestseller or earned a diploma. Yet he dares to look into the leathery faces of farmers and tired faces of housewives and offer rest. He looks into the disillusioned eyes of a preacher or two from Jerusalem. He gazes into the cynical stare of a banker and the hungry eyes of a bartender and makes this paradoxical promise. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. That's Matthew 11, verse 29. Don't mind our little special guest here. The people came. They came out of the cul-de-sacs and office complexes of their day. They brought him the burdens of their existence, and he gave them not religion, not doctrine, not systems, but rest. As a result, they called him Lord. As a result, they called him Savior. Not so much because of what he said, but because of what he did. They all came to Jesus, weary with the futility of life. A rejected woman, a confused patriarch, disoriented disciples, a discouraged missionary. They all found rest. They found anchor points for their storm-tossed souls, and they found that Jesus was the only man to walk God's earth who claimed to have an answer for man's burdens. Come to me, he invited them. So that's a little inspiration passage from my Bible study. Let me sit up here with Mommy. We just woke up from our nap. So this is what I was talking about when I said it's gonna be real life. And this is yeah, this is part of real life. So he's gonna join us for the rest of the time, probably, unless he decides he doesn't want to. So when I was reading that, I realized that I am doing all of the things I need to be doing. I just need to do them more. I'm not doing them enough. So, I feel like I was praying every day for peace and patience and comfort and rest and all of the things that I feel like I'm lacking right now because I'm misplaced from what I know. And some days that's enough, but some days I feel like I need to do it. Like I need to pray that, maybe even every 10 minutes. Just depends on what life throws at me that day, and that's okay too. But it made me think of the story in the Gospel of Matthew when Peter walks on water. I want to read that as well. I'll just read it and then we can talk about it. So I'm in Matthew 14 and I'm going to start in verse 25. Can you read this way just a little bit? Thank you. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink, crying out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." That was ending in verse 33. Yeah. And I thought of that story because Peter was good until he took his focus off of Jesus. He was walking on water in the middle of a storm because his eyes were on Jesus. And as soon as he took his eyes off, that's when he began to sink. And I think that that is so relevant in all of our lives. Like we can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, right? But we have to stay focused on him. So we can walk on water through the biggest storm of our life if we keep our focus on Jesus. As soon as our eyes come off of him, our focus comes off of him, and we get distracted, that's when we start to sink. And sometimes we sink really fast. Like it feels like a hole just opens up beneath us and we fall into a pit. And other times it's so slow that we hardly notice it until we're at the bottom, and then we're trying to get up to the surface. And both scenarios are difficult scenarios. I mean, you have to relinquish your worldly self and give everything over to Jesus, and focus on him and eliminate all other distractions. But I feel like when you fall fast, it's almost easier because I feel like you recognize it a lot faster than you do when you sink slowly. But all of that to say, if we, no matter what we're walking through, Jesus is right there with us. And even if we've sank to the bottom, like we've gotten all the way there, we've sat there for a while, held our breath as long as we could, and then finally we're like, okay, I got to get back up to the surface. But it's really easy to think, well, Jesus doesn't even want me anymore. I've been down here so long, he's forgotten about me. But that's not true. Listen to what it says in verse 31. Right after Peter cried out, "Lord, save me," verse 31 says, immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. Immediately. So Jesus did not hesitate to reach out his hand and save Peter when he started to sink. And it doesn't matter if we cry out right away or if we wait until we can't hold our breath anymore and we sink all the way to the bottom and we've been there for months or years even. Immediately, God will be there. Yeah. As soon as we invite him, he's going to be there for us. He wants a relationship with us. And, I questioned if I should talk about this or not because I tried to, maybe Bubba, don't kick it. I tried to record this 4 times on Friday, and every time something went wrong with it, like couldn't see my face, I didn't hit record, there was no sound, everything was in slow motion. I don't know what was going on. So I prayed about it, and then I was watching church service today from my Tennessee church, and they always do like a prayer kind of announcements at the beginning right after worship, and the guy that got up there to do the announcements and prayer today read from Psalm 23, and that to me was, I was feeling better about it already after praying, but that to me was just like, okay, yeah, I hear you. Like, this is just so, I've heard this so much in the last week that there's no way I couldn't talk about it. So that's what I got for you guys today. I hope that if any of you are going through anything hard or about to go through something hard, whether it's something with military life or something with just normal civilian life, your problems are not meaningless to Jesus. He sees every single one of you, and he's waiting for you to call out to him so that he can immediately reach his hand down and help you. I hope that this can reach some of you guys today, and even if you don't need it right now, then I hope that you can keep it in your pocket and use it for when you do. I will see you guys next week, and I will try not to be late next week.